do 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 do. Boo boo doo boo 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 boo.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
Hey.
So, today we're talking about Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. This brings me back to my high school years. I mean, it was exactly like Pulp Fiction. It was just like it.
Yeah.
Except it was nothing like that. We all watched it.
Remember the time that you and your boss were abducted by BDSM rapists?
Yeah.
Remember that? It's a pretty interesting story to tell us.
Anyway. It was this story is interesting because it's like a series of interrelated vignettes. And then they all sort of come together at the end.
Yeah. I mean, other people have done stuff like this, but, nobody's really done it as good as Pulp Fiction has.
I don't know if it's never been done as well as Pulp Fiction has, but this movie really is, like, I think a triumph of, like, cinematic storytelling, even if it's, like, really violent and probably not appropriate for children.
It's the triumph of the Bruce Willis. That's what it is. I mean, yeah, I was gonna watch this with Elijah.
No, you absolutely
I was
not.
just kidding. I wasn't.
We wouldn't have let you do that.
It would have been a great thing to watch with Elijah, though. No, it wouldn't be.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah.
It's a classic in its own sense. And for me, like, Pulp Fiction, I think, kind of marked a change in the kind of movies that were mainstream after that. Like, I don't know, I kind of see Pulp Fiction as kind of the beginning of this very brief golden era in American cinema that flamed out really fast.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, though, that, I really wish that this was kind of the thing that set the standard for, like, new blockbusters, because it would be really cool going to the cinema and seeing movies that were, you got your options. You got reruns. Mm-hmm. You got your big movies that everybody thinks, like those ones that, like, critics always watch, and they're like, ooh, this movie, it's like Oscar bait. It's like those indie films, kind of, and everybody's like, ooh, those are so cool. And we got Blumhouse movies, and people trying to copy the Blumhouse formula. And then we got, like, the blockbusters, like action adventure, really mainstream stuff, like Avengers and stuff. It would have been really cool if I could go to the theater and watch something like this.
Yeah, a lot of films like this are now released directly to Netflix and are only released in a few cities and things. Like, several of the Oscar nominees in several categories have been released that way. But they're on Netflix. I think, oh gosh, what's the one from last year? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like,
Green Book?
No, that's not the one I'm thinking of.
Black Klansman?
No.
That was by Blumhouse.
No, I'm thinking of the Ballad of, what's it? Anyway, there are still movies that are like this.
Yeah, but not as good. They're always made by, like, Tarantini's.
I think you should watch some Coen Brothers movies. I think you would enjoy them.
After Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I've heard is, like, really good.
Have you seen, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
No. It's also a very quotable
The Big
movie.
Lebowski?
I'll watch it if people really think it's that good, but whatever. I mean, you got so many lines that are so good. It's kind of like...
Are we talking about Pulp Fiction?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they are, yes.
I mean,
good lines.
You got, like...
A lot of them are not repeatable.
English motherfucker, do you speak it? That's my favorite. That just stuck in my head. It's really good. I think it's a really good use of Samuel L. Jackson, because he does his best when he's shouting at people. What? I'm quoting a line from a movie. You just watched like 2 hours of people swearing. I don't think there's 5 minutes of straight footage without somebody swearing, so I don't know how you can be mad at me for quoting one of their lines. So we gotta talk about we should talk about them kind of as 3 separate short films, kind of. Because they do intersect, but
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to talk because they're all kind of like separate movies.
Yeah.
Sorta. I mean, it's kind of like a mini-series in a way. Don't you think, like a mini-series that's strung together?
No.
It'd be kind of like a Stephen King...
Maybe.
Well, I mean, a violent one, obviously. Like where there are 3 stories and they are all released separately on TV and then they all kind of like interconnect. It also has kind of like a, what do you call it? A Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of ring. Because at the end of the episode, everything always ties in together. They play that iconic music that people play after like every joke, and I think it's funny.
Speaking of the music in this, the soundtrack for this movie is excellent.
Yeah. Was there any original songs made for this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I always thought, well, I mean, a movie, you know, the soundtrack's good, but they just took songs that already existed. They fit really well, but I guess by that logic, Suicide Squad's soundtrack is really good. Because they just took
Guardians
3,000.
of the Galaxy isn't by that logic.
Suicide Squad just took like 3,000 songs that were popular, put them in the movie.
But you like Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's what they did.
Well, they did make original songs. Like, have you heard Guardians Inferno, performed by David Hasselhoff?
Oh, okay.
It was a parody of a music video.
Also, many other movies have done this successfully.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good. I think Reddit says this is the best movie ever. It's Reddit, and Mom loves Reddit.
Well, anyway, I thought this was a remarkable movie when I saw it the first time, and it's not one that I rewatch constantly, but I've seen it several times, and I always think that the storytelling is just incredibly well done. But it's violent and it's vulgar, and there's a lot of things that's not really recommended for children.
Well, I don't think any Quentin Tarantino movies are recommended for children.
No.
Like, we got Kill Bills, we got Reservoir Dogs.
You know what else I like in this movie? Harvey Keitel as Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, him, the guy that cleaned up the car.
Yeah, phenomenal character.
And then
that scene that led to that's to me been one of the most uncomfortable scenes in all of cinema, because, like, you know, Marvin gets shot in the face, and it's comic, and you laugh, and you're like, I like, first time I saw it, I laughed, and then I was like, I can't believe I'm laughing at this gruesome, violent death.
Well, I mean, it's not real. You can laugh at him because you didn't actually die.
Well, I know that, but still, it's like, it's gory too, but it's funny, and it's like, oh, it's very unsettling. It was done intentionally, but
I mean, I just thought it was like, you shot the guy in the face. It's like you just accidentally shoot this guy in the face. Like this, I think it's funny because you always see in gangster movies, people are like pulling their guns all around and they're all loaded and they're just like flailing them around. Like eventually somebody's gonna get shot, right?
Mm-hmm. And it happened.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
And Quentin Tarantino's appearance.
When was that?
He was the guy who owned the house they went to.
Oh, yeah. I didn't recognize him. I don't look at very many pictures of Quentin Tarantino. He was like Freddy, right? What did they call him?
Jimmy. I think was his character's name.
My favorite character was Jules or Samuel L. Jackson, but the problem is that, you know, it's kind of like he's not in the movie that much, like, really not. And I'm kind of, I gotta look at see if it's still filming. Yeah, I gotta like be kind of disappointed in the fact that they underused him. Like, but like that's later. So what did you think about the first? It was to recap what happened in the first kind of vignette of this movie was John Travolta, or you know what, I'm going to call him Gotti because I don't remember his name. So
Vincent.
So Gotti.
Vincent.
So Gotti, he's taking this guy. So he's like, he's gonna take this girl, like, who's the daughter of this like really powerful guy. What's his name? What do they call him?
Daughter? No, it was his wife. Marcellus' wife.
His wife, yeah. So they go to like a 50s like throwback place.
Mm-hmm.
Throwback.
And she orders a $5 vanilla milkshake.
How much is that? I mean, apparently that was really good. I didn't.
Well, you wouldn't think of nothing. You would think nothing about paying $5 for a milkshake now, but this movie came out in 1994.
Is it a lot more back in 1994? Like say $5 for a milkshake?
You wouldn't normally pay $5 for a milkshake in 1994. Apparently, not even in Los Angeles.
Well, it probably was gotta be a good milkshake. Anyway, I mean, so he's getting like, so he goes to this drug dealer, right? And the drug dealer is like, if you get this, like, this, they got these two and these are good, but this one's really good. And he's like, I'll take the one that's real good. I'll take a little bit of it. And then...
It was heroin.
Yeah, it was heroin. And he takes some before he gets to the house to, like, the wife. And then they go, they have a good time. Their terrible dance moves win them a trophy somehow. Yep. With a guy announcing it that I honestly think looks like a Nixon impersonator.
It's a Ed Sullivan impersonator.
Anyway, so I guess any impersonator of somebody that even looks remotely like Nixon kind of looks like a Nixon impersonator.
Ed Sullivan. Yeah. It was pretty obvious to anyone who's ever seen Ed Sullivan.
I've never seen Ed Sullivan.
Well, you wouldn't have seen him.
Well, anyway, so then he gets like... Then they go home and they think it's all good, and then the wife accidentally snorts heroin, which is not good. I didn't know, but apparently, snorting heroin will put you into cardiac arrest. It's really dangerous, apparently, because she thought it was cocaine.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, that must have been the most ridiculous head rushes of all time.
It was not good. So, and she almost died. The character almost died.
Yeah, they had to take her to the weed guy's house. Or no, not the weed.
And don't use heroin, people. Guys. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, but especially don't snort heroin.
It's very bad to use heroin. Please don't do it.
If you're going to use heroin, inject it into yourself with a needle.
Just don't use heroin. Just don't do it.
Unless you're Captain America. If you're Captain America, you can use heroin.
No one is actually Captain America. Don't use heroin.
Prove it.
Just don't use heroin, folks. Besides, Captain America wouldn't use heroin.
Why not?
Because he's Captain America.
Okay. Anyway, so they have to like do adrenaline shot, and I think it's really funny because of how they're like freaking out. So they have to like push it in because you got like, what do you call it? Implants. So you got
no, she just has a breastbone that you have to get through.
No, I thought they said that she had breast implants. You had to get through them.
No, that's not what they said. It was the bone.
Maybe I just misheard because I thought it was. What?
Yes, you misheard.
What?
It was a bone. The breastbone.
I don't see why she couldn't have had breast implants, though. I'm just saying.
Anyway. Yeah, okay, so you don't need to describe the entire plot.
Yeah, I know, but basically, I'm just explaining...
Okay, so I know, so what about this one? Like, that one was pretty good. I liked actually Uma Thurman's character, Mia, pretty well. Better than the first time I watched it. Like, I could appreciate that character more.
Uma Thurman... She's getting work and couldn't meet movies. She got Kill Bill and its sequel, Kill Bill Volume 2.
I'm not sure that really qualifies as a sequel. It was originally just one movie they had to release in 2 parts.
I mean, you'd call Deathly Hallows a sequel. I mean,
I
it's
guess.
not a sequel.
Boy, talk about a boring movie.
Kinda. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know why they stretched out Deathly Hallows, but we can talk about Deathly Hallows later. I might
It's
talk
not
about
on
you.
our list.
It's not on the list.
So, yes.
It was.
So that first vignette is really interesting. Kind of gives you a little bit of Vincent's character, like a sense of his character. The scenes with Butch, that was really, like, as the boxer, like, you see him, he's throw the fight, he doesn't throw the fight, he wins the fight, and he actually kills the other guy.
Which I didn't, like, if that happens, I know, but, like, if that happens, that's manslaughter, right? Would you get in trouble for, like, you probably wouldn't, like, get arrested for murder, right? Because they got, like, rules down saying, like, oh, this and this is allowed, but you would go to court, you'd have to, like, explain yourself and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I really don't know what... you could, potentially be criminally liable for killing somebody in the boxing match, I guess. I don't really know. But anyway, that scene was crazy.
And then, I mean, I thought it was going to be really boring because Bruce Willis, he goes in, he's like, oh, there's this like long scene where Christopher Walken is explaining how this watch got to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I mean, I think there were better actors to get than Christopher Walken.
I think Christopher Walken was perfect for that role.
They could have gotten somebody, it would have been funnier, honestly, to explain it. Somebody that took the role way too seriously.
Well, I think
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones would have been too old.
Well, I mean, James Earl Jones is playing the Lion King.
Yeah, that's a voice part. You can play any age.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to have been, like, lived in World War I, right?
No.
Right? Yeah, he said that he got the watch in World War I.
The great-grandfather got the watch in World War I.
So,
his dad, that would have been, was it Korea?
The Korean War? Or
yeah.
World War II?
No, it wasn't World War II because his granddad was in World War II. I think it was either Korea or Vietnam. I don't remember which. It must have been Korea.
But I thought that, what was it, the, like, wife of Bruce Willis? I didn't like her. I thought she was kind of bad. But, after they left, and that like, he's driving on his way home, and he's trying to kill the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? And the guy from Death Race. Have you ever seen Death Race?
No.
The reboot?
No.
It's real good. It has Ving Rhames in it. And he plays the announcer.
Okay, so anyway...
But, yeah. So, after that, he gets in trouble. Wait, so he's about to kill Ving Rhames. But then he goes into, like, a pawn shop with, like, a guy that's, like, obviously racist because he's got the Confederate flag and he's saying the N-word and stuff. He's like, stop shooting him. And then he goes down into his, like, sex dungeon or something. And they got, like, the sex toys in his mouth that would, like, keep him shut, like, gag him. Remember those gag things? I thought that I was gonna make a sex joke. But I didn't think that it fit. Because I thought that they might have just had those from, like, a pawn shop or something. And then they were just using them to gag. But then it turned out that they had, like, a gimp, and I had to look up what that was. Or a guy in a gimp suit, I guess. And then the guy, one of the guys, he called a police friend over, too. And then they start raping the guy. What was his name? The black guy. Ving Rhames.
Marcellus.
And they start raping him, and Bruce Willis decides to save him. And then we learn that the guy, that they're good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any trouble. So then he goes and, like, the guy that was raping him, he was like, this guy's going to be tortured for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see what happened.
No, I don't think you do.
To the tortured guy.
I really don't. I don't think it's good to dwell on those things. It's probably not healthy.
Well, I mean, I just thought that like it would be boring, but honestly, it was probably one of the best parts of the movie. I mean, it wasn't like really good, but I mean, it was just like how far like insane Quentin Tarantino was going. Like he was going as like far as he could with like the insane idea, like the coincidences and just going crazy like off the rails. Like level. I thought it was pretty funny. And so I mean, this is probably one of Bruce Willis's better movies because in recent years he stopped emoting. It's kind of weird because like from what I've heard, I saw a review of Glass from YMS and he said it's really awkward seeing because they showed shots from Unbreakable which has Bruce Willis in it, and you see Bruce Willis like they show shots of Unbreakable in Glass, so when you watch, it's really jarring to see Bruce Willis actually like emoting because he doesn't do that anymore. He's been in movies such as like Reprisal where they get like a stunt double from the back and have him like ADR the lines and be like, "I'll get you anytime, punk," and it's like him. It's like he's like standing like this, and he like puts up his hand and is like, "I'll take you anytime, punk," and you don't see his face, and it's clearly a stunt double. I thought that was pretty funny.
Anyway,
I mean, we're not talking about Reprisal. So, I mean, what do you think of it?
so the movie was...
No, I mean the second vignette.
Yeah, it was a little harder to watch, but it was, you know... It does sort of show, like, Quentin Tarantino was trying to, like, tell a complex story, and I think he just did a good job with it. So, and then the last of these vignettes was...
It was basically just, like, at the beginning of the movie, they show these guys starting to rob a store, like a food, like a restaurant, right? And then at the end, they basically show Samuel L. Jackson, like, stopping that, kind of, I guess. He doesn't really stop it. I mean...
Well, he does, sort of, but here's the thing, like, it's, it kind of shows Samuel L. Jackson's, his character, I should say, Jules' character, developing in a really important and pretty profound way. I don't know. I thought it was an extremely good story, but what do you think isn't the case?
I think that stage lights are in the case.
It's a MacGuffin.
It's gonna like, what it does is when it opens the case, you see the light from the, I think that the stage lights, they're like flashlights and they're on. That's my guess.
I think it is Marcellus's soul.
I don't think so. I'm going to say why, because this is an extremely grounded film. I don't think that there's any supernatural things in this.
Okay.
But I'm guessing...
It took it out through the back of his neck. That's why he has a bandage there.
Is this a thing that people actually think?
Yeah. People have been speculating about this for over 20 years.
Yeah, I think
25
it's
years.
probably just a ton of gold bars.
Ton of gold bars?
I mean,
if it were a ton of gold bars, people would be saying, is that what I think it is?
Well, I mean, imagine if you were robbing a restaurant, right? And you said, open the briefcase, and you saw like millions of dollars worth in gold bars. You'd be like, hey, is that what I think it is? Because that's millions of dollars worth of gold bars. You couldn't be carrying around millions of dollars worth of gold bars. Maybe it's just like, maybe it's the original edition of Star Wars before George Lucas edited it.
Could be.
I don't think it's that valuable, though. It wouldn't be that valuable.
Well, anyway, who knows what's in the case? It doesn't matter. It's a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
So.
Wait. If it was the guy's soul, though, would it? If they destroyed it, then would it kill him?
I don't know.
Also, how would you? Is it like a physical object? Also, even if it was his soul, how would they know it was the guy's soul? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It wouldn't be like them being like, oh, what is that? A soul? Like, if I saw a guy in a briefcase and the guy opened it and it was like, I don't know, something that I've never seen before, I wouldn't be like, is that a soul you got in there?
Alright, so what do you think of the movie? Where is it on your list?
I don't know. Let me get my thing out. I mean, I honestly think they probably, that Band-Aid behind his neck, that was, I don't know, probably just added because they wanted to show him be, like, cool. Like, he's gotten beat up before or something.
Right.
I mean, probably, two, probably, but the pencil's broken, so.
Okay, so I'm going to put it, of the ones that I've seen so far. I don't even remember what order my list was in before, but I'm going to say Godfather Part 2 is higher than this. And then Back to the Future is higher than this. But Pulp Fiction and then 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm going to put this at a 9 out of 10. What would you put this at?
I'll give it an 8.
And what movie are we reviewing next, Dad?
I don't know. What's tomorrow?
The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay. I think you're going to see that with either your mother or one of your cousins, maybe.
No, when we get to the cousin's house, it'll be way too late. We gotta either watch it in the morning or on the way there in the car.
Okay, well, it'll probably be on the way there because I've got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Gotta watch it with one of my brothers, maybe.
Alright.
Could wake up early, do it. I don't know, forgetting something.
Alright. Thanks, Iselin.